What's going on, traders? Welcome back to another live trading video. Here I have another pending order here on New Zealand dollar. Now yesterday, if you've watched my recent trading videos, we caught this move to the downside here on New Zealand dollar. Very nice little short-term trade. As price broke underneath this support trend line, we looked too short. We rode that momentum to the downside and saw a really nice trade there. So we are back again today on New Zealand dollar. We had that bearish momentum yesterday and things worked out very, very nicely. However, during the London session yesterday, or I guess today, right, we had price start to retrace. We found some bullishness, but take a look at this bullishness. You can see that there's not really a ton of strength here to the upside and things are looking relatively weak. For the most part here, in fact, we also saw this 50% retracement level hold very nice, right? We drew from the recent high there to the recent low there. We saw the retracement at the 50% level hold very nicely. We put in a bearish engulfing bar right here, which to me is a big indication that there was seller strength here. And now what we have is prices starting to move lower. And I have a pending order to sell this market once again. So yesterday we took sells and they worked out very nice. And we'll see if we can get another sell order in here that works out as well. You can see here down in the green, this is my sell stop for one standard lot there to see if we can catch a movement to the downside there. So the idea here is that we have this 20 period SMA, very simple indicator, nothing super fancy or secret here. We just have a 20 period SMA that price did make its way above, but now you can see it looks like price is failing to hold that area. We are again finding resistance in that 50% retracement. And as price starts to come down, I'd like to get involved if we see a significant break of structure. In this case, you can see that the 20 period SMA has held nicely. And so if that level gets broken, that's where I'd be potentially interested in looking and joining the move right here to the sell side. Now you can't see my order to take profit here, and I'll zoom out a little bit. You should be able to see it there. There it is at the bottom of the screen. We have a take profit order potentially to come down here. If the price goes all the way in our favor, I'm looking to make around $300, I believe, here on the trade, if I can get it to focus. Yep, just about $300 if price gets in there. It'll be a little bit less due to commissions and spreads. But what we can see here is, again, we're not quite in the trade yet. We have not entered the trade. If price can come down another 8 or 9 pips there, we'll be into the trade and looking to, again, either take that larger take profit there. We have a nice little room to run for the trade. If in case price decides to break down lower, we want to be in favor of a longer term or bigger push or a bigger reward relative to our risk, right? So we're looking to go with the dominant overall energy. And really what we're looking to base it off of partially as well is this lower high here, right? So we had a high here. We had a higher high and price was trending to the upside. Again, yesterday we caught a beautiful trade. I'll share the detail. If you would like to take a look at that trade, I'll put it up here on the screen as well so you can check that one out. So we took a sell trade here. Price moved down into our favor and we got out of the profit. We got out of the trade for a nice profit there before price started to reverse. And now looking to catch another sell trade as price has put in that lower high, as we mentioned, and looks like it wants to break lower. If price gets down here, again, we'll be into the trade and happy to stop out if we need to. Of course, the stop loss is relatively tight here. I don't want to risk too much on the trade. I'd like to just see that we can break through these lows and continue. If not, we're out of the trade and we move on to another opportunity. So we'll see what happens next. I'll keep you guys updated. Okay, so New Zealand dollar here starting out nicely. You can see price did come down into our area and got us into the trade. If we take it down to the 15-minute chart here, you can see that we did actually come down quite a bit. We can see we got into the trade and we're up a total of probably around 10 or so pips there in a matter of just a short bit here. So what we're looking at right now is price did pull back. We did get a kind of shoot to the downside and a bounce back up. That looks like a really quick move. In fact, I didn't see it happening. You can see price shot down on the 5-minute chart and popped right back up. So we'll see if we can get some continuation here to the downside. Things starting to look pretty good here on New Zealand dollar for the time being. We'll see if we can get that rollover to continue or if price is going to get a bounce here. Again, going back to that 1-hour chart, you can see that the overall idea here is that we've put in that lower high and now it's looking confirmed. We did put in a lower high from the recent structure, right? We had that high to low, price pulled back to the 50% retracement, found that lower high and pushed down. So from here, we're looking to see that continue down into towards our take profit. At some point, I will probably move my stop to break even to kind of either lock in some of the profits or just to take my risk off the table if price can get down for us. But for the time being, we are still risk on here. If price decides to retrace, then we'll take that $100 loss, no big deal. Right around $101 there risked on the table, and then we have that $299 profit if price can come down to our level. So we'll see. We'll let the trade run. We'll see how it unfolds from here. Price still moving here in our favor on New Zealand dollar. This is the 15-minute chart. We see we are currently up right around 7 or so pips there on the trade, so not bad at all. Just waiting to see if we can get some further correction. Price filling this wick that it kind of printed here. We had this big wick of just 8 pips to the downside real quick. Looks like price wants to fill that kind of wick and continue going lower, which to me is a good sign. Obviously, looking to see if we can get back down to a major structure zone, which I'm going to point out now, which is going to be this recent low, right? So we had this kind of low print into the market, and this is going to be one of the biggest barriers for sellers here is, can we in fact break through this level? Now I mentioned that my take profit here is all the way down here, right? So if price can start to break through here, then what I'll probably do is at that point look to move my stop to break even, just because at that point we could see a bounce. What I'm really betting on here is that the overall momentum of this market will push us through this lower level, and that this supportive structure that we put in that double bottom there, hopefully you guys can see that. If I move that over just a little bit, should be able to see that. You can see we did put in a double bottom right around here. We saw one stop here, we found a bounce, put another bounce in, and we saw a rally throughout the London session. So really going into today, if price can get down to that level, it's going to be a big barrier for sellers to see if they can break through that zone. But if they do break through that zone, then I think we're in the clear to head down towards our take profit there, towards the lows here. Now, of course, we'll see what actually ends up happening. We could be completely wrong about this. And at some point, I will look to secure profits, or at least to secure my risk by moving my stop to break even. So we'll see what we get here going forward. Well, traders, New Zealand dollar worked out really, really nice. We closed out a profit there, near $300 on the trade. Super happy with how this one worked out. Honestly, this trade is really cool because we just took a profit on New Zealand dollar yesterday. And so to get that double whammy, to get another trade closed favorable there on New Zealand dollar, we took 30 pips here on the trade. Quick in and out trade in favor of that downtrend continuation. Now, today on the live stream, we did point out one thing further that I hadn't mentioned in the analysis, and that is that, and I forgot to mention it, I saw this when I was doing my analysis, but here on the 4-hour chart, we did also have a very clean head and shoulders pattern form on New Zealand dollar, right? So we had price come up into this area, form a high there, we had a higher high come into this market, and then we saw the lower high, which showed us that, okay, we might have some potential here for a downtrend continuation in favor of this head and shoulders pattern. Right, so that's what we started to see. We saw the breakthrough of this neckline, and we traded that continuation to the downside. So very, very nice play there. I'm pretty happy with how this trade worked out for the most part. As price came through the lows, we kind of traded into the dominant energy there. So what we had was also this, right? We had this retracement. And this is pretty important. So when we talked about the Fibonacci retracement, we talked about price came down to this area and we found buyer support pushing up on this market. And then we saw a breakdown and a break through that level. And this is where we looked to get involved, right? We looked to break through these lows and we saw that continuation as the New Zealand lost strength relative to the dollar. We broke through the lows. In fact, we didn't even really hesitate. So I mentioned that we might see some sort of hesitation there on New Zealand dollar as price came into this area, but that's actually not what we had. We saw price just completely fall over in favor of that dominant energy. Now, one thing I'd like to point out is, again, this counter trend that we saw was very, very weak. Now, what do I mean by that? We had a downtrend, right? We saw price really shoot to the downside. We caught that sell trade yesterday in the VIP team. And as price retraced, we had a very weak retracement. Look at how price did not really decisively move up. It just kind of chattered back up. It kind of just retraced a bit here before ultimately dumping further down very, very strongly in favor of the overall trend here that we're starting to see. So we had that high, we had that lower high, and we saw the breakthrough of the counter trend here, right? So we had that weak counter trend that broke down, and we saw that continuation down towards our take profit. We managed the trade very, very nicely. I didn't even have a chance to move my stops into break even due to the fact that I was on the live stream. And so very, very happy with how this trade closed out, honestly. We stuck to the plan. We kept things very, very simple here. Traded the trend continuation on this one. Yesterday's move was a counter trend trade, but today's move was a trend continuation trade. Both of which, however, were breakouts in favor of the dominant market energy, sticking with the kind of direction that the market was choosing for the day. So yesterday we had a bearish day, and today it's looking like we had a very nice bearish day as well. So overall, very happy with how New Zealand traded today. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. If you're looking to improve as a Forex trader, I've got an entire channel here full of free stuff to help you out. You can check out videos here, and if you're interested in my VIP service where you can follow along with my trades as well as join our membership chat room, you can check out the link down below in the description. Check it out. We'll see you there.